grassroots football is facing a funding crisis. Due to extensive government cuts, councils are struggling with maintenance costs, and the poorest children in the UK are being priced out of the game. Pitches are in a bad state, and modern 3G pitches are exclusive, the pricing unfair. The football community is divided.
Things like the facilities for the children are really poor at the moment.
You can see the quality of the pitches are absolutely terrible. And they're pricing a lot of teams out, so it does seem pointless.
And with the sale of Wembley Stadium falling through, many question where the much needed funding will come from now. For this documentary, I will be visiting Liverpool, Gateshead and Oslo to get a better understanding of the crisis grassroots football faces and discover new ways funding could be generated.
At the end of the day, all I want is for kids to have the best facilities at affordable prices across the country.
It's been another frustrating winter, and football is now facing austerity through the barrel of a gun. Council budgets have been slashed and resources are strained. Receiving the most cuts out of anywhere in the UK, Liverpool Council have started charging to use local pitches. But the facilities, like the Wavertree Botanical Park, are dated.
There's no parking facilities for the parents, so that's a problem getting your children here. The main problem for us is the weather effect on the pitches as well. Sometimes they're just completely unplayable.
I think last year, for 7 or 8 weeks, we didn't have a game based on the quality. There was waterlogging everywhere. Then we turn over the morning, we have to collect dog poo from the pitch before the game. And the facilities, as you can see, are just horrendous.
The costs should pay for the maintenance of council-owned parks and fields. However, parents don't feel they're getting their money's worth.
I mean, there are some really good facilities around, but they're few and far between, and there's not enough to cover because there's an awful lot of young children playing football now. And, you know, the government want children to keep fit, it's good for their health, but the facilities just aren't there, the free facilities aren't there.
I work a lot abroad in Switzerland and Germany, and small villages, and the funding they get from the local councils is just absolutely unbelievable. The pitches are like Wembley. We haven't even got a changing room. There's 25 pitches, we've got no changing rooms. The kids have to get changed at home. They turn up, they're now soaking wet, there's no showers.
Most years it seems to be running over the end of the season to catch up on all the matches. Not a lot of training facilities around, so the team's having to do a lot of fundraising.
£5 a game on a Saturday. He then plays on a Sunday, so that's another £5. He plays on a Friday futsal, so it's £15 a week. A lot of the money we pay in also goes to funding, so there's training kits, there's keeper gloves, there's football boots, so it costs a lot of money.
Liverpool have been the benefactors of 5 new Parklife hubs, part of a £20 million FA funding scheme.
They're absolutely fantastic. You know, there's disaster serves, there's toilets, there's proper changing rooms, somewhere to have a coffee or tea, to keep warm.
Many feel the pricing is unjustified. A third of a pitch can cost up to £45 an hour. Moreover, partner clubs use the facilities at a discounted price if they have more teams. I've come to the King George V playing fields in Huyton, where you can hire a pitch out for just £15 an hour. A local under-9s team trains here in the winter months of the season. They should be using the new Parklife hubs, but they're not because they can't afford them.
It comes down to simply price. This is £15 an hour. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong, the hubs are around about 45-50 an hour. So it's a massive difference. The hubs are amazing, you know, the facilities are second to none, but they were built for kids football and they're pricing a lot of teams out, so it does seem pointless.
When challenged with these issues, Liverpool Council and the FA failed to reply. However, making the Parklife scheme a sustainable legacy could be a small price to pay. But they're not the only ones feeling the squeeze. Battling with a £29 million gap in their budget, Gateshead Council suggested cutting all funding for grass pitches and bowling greens. It didn't go down well.
It went out into the local media, was advertised everywhere, no football pitches from the start of the 2019-20 season. And that naturally caused uproar. Because obviously now sport is not one of the main priorities for a local authority.
Football joined arms and opposed the cuts.
I believe 80+% said they were against the proposal.
Durham FA must create a sustainable plan for the next 3 years to cover the costs. Losing funding could affect many other social elements.
We're very conscientious here at the County FA now going forward that it's the wider social aspects of what football can bring into communities. And we've got to continue to do that in the future to prevent problems in the future with knife crime, for example, antisocial behaviour. It's hard to measure at times, but I think the local authorities do realise how big football and sport plays in the wider social circle.
It will involve eventually some one-pitch sites being closed. Some of the money from that can then be used to go towards the building of park-like projects. That would then release some of the burden on the council itself.
One man is pushing for change. Kenny Saunders, the man behind the Save Grassroots football campaign, wants a tax levy on the Premier League's TV revenue to reinvest back into grassroots level.
Basically, the petition is to get 5% of the TV revenue from the Premier League to go back into grassroots football, which it promised in the 1999 Task Force Agreement. That has never ever been the case, and still today it's never been the case.
Despite the interest nationally, getting 100,000 signatures has proved difficult.
All this has been my own personal expense as well. I've had banners made on one thing and another, and I just don't know why people are not signing the petition.
The petition has fallen way short of the mark required for a debate in Parliament. Kenny is back at square one. I went to the capital of Norway after hearing about a government scheme that uses the proceeds from betting games to improve grassroots sport. Norsk Tipping has invested €450 million into building new football pitches.
The purpose was to control the lottery and the betting structure in Norway, and also to utilize the outcome to put it back into sports and culture.
The Norwegian FA and local municipalities have worked closely with clubs to alleviate any pressures with funding, dividing costs into thirds.
We launched a one-third idea, which was one-third from the Norwegian betting company, and one-third from the local municipalities, and one-third from the clubs. That was kind of a core idea. So for the Norwegian Football Federation, Norsk Tipping has been a huge benefiter.
One club in Oslo called Hemming is just one of many benefactors of the Grassroots Fund. The club used to play their games on marshlands, but today is a different story.
In 2004 we got our main field on the program by the municipality of Oslo. They had a program to build 5 new artificial turf, and it was financed partially from Norsk Tipping, which is a monopoly for bingo and other plays. I don't think we have come where we are today without Norsk Tipping.
But the government and the FA face a bigger challenge convincing the public to stay away from international betting companies and invest in a greater social cause.
So there's a lot of money spent by Norwegian bettors in these companies. So that's a threat to Norwegian betting. So it's really a good structure to try to empower or to get the local communities to see how they can support their local club.
Through Sports England, the UK has benefited from a wealth of funding from the National Lottery Scheme. The FA and Premier League Facilities Fund has developed a number of community-based 3G pitches across the country. 2018 saw a record £92 million injected into the scheme. Football has not been left entirely for dead. Bringing grassroots football into modern times is a slow process. But how much time do we have?